I was telling about different books, um, online books and studies books. So I was telling about studies book. So I'm continuing the rest of the topic. So yes, I read it, different kind of stories, and when I read it in class 11, then I had the book of Shakespeare. There had four stories. Uh, yes, I read it Othello. I read it As You Like It. Macbeth is really very interesting tragedy. It's not story. It was a tragedy. Um, and and I also read it Comedy of Errors, and these all stories of Shakespeare was really very um, interesting, and I liked. But the some word was really very tough, and I could not understand some lines, some sentence properly. So that's why when I read this book, then I had to take help of my teachers, and and I also read a lot of stories in Bengali also. And otherwise I also had joke, a lot of subjects, and um, every subject had some features. So I like to read every subject, and I could learn lot of things from all subject. And if you want to become a doctor, if you want to become a lawyer, if you want to become a teacher, then you have to read studies book, or in any competitive books like English books, GK book, etc. But according to me, according to me, studies book is really very important for us. So I will tell about online book. uh, we downloaded different apps now from Play Store, like ebook. There is lot of apps for reading different stories, for listening different stories. um, I also downloaded different apps of stories. That's why you can listen English stories, you can listen in Bengali stories, you can listen Hindi stories, or you can read also. But there had no informative stories. No, no, no. I'm I'm not telling it that there had any bad stories. No, there you also get a lot of knowledgeable stories from these online books, means online story books app, uh, like this ebook. You can download this ebook from Play Store, and after downloading it, you can listen, or you can read different stories in ebook, and you can listen also. So once I also downloaded this book, but there had some stories you have to buy. So if you don't buy any stories, then you cannot listen, or you cannot, maybe you can read one part of the stories, but you cannot tell sorry, you cannot read whole stories. Uh, but these ebooks also really very good. It's not bad, I will not tell. It also very informative. But if you want to give any examination of a competitive exam, or I told that, suppose you are giving exam of class 9, then it will not come in any work of you. Then you have to need a studies book. But it also very helpful, like, I'm giving I'm wanting to give an example, like, you have a long journey, you are in a vehicle. Hmm. So that's why you are feeling very bored. You have really very long journey, and you are not getting any work in the vehicle. Then you can listen some stories through phone, through this ebook, or you can read some stories through this ebook app. So that's why you can pass your time, you can refresh your mind. it's not possible for everyone to carry any in any story books. So and it's very easy to carry a mobile phone, so that's why you can also carry a headphone easily. So that's why when you will stay in a vehicle, um, then you can listen some stories for for refreshing your mind. So according to me, ebook also is very well books for us. And most of the people like to listen stories during travel. Uh, Most of the people like to read stories during travel. Then maybe they forget to carry their story books. They forget. Maybe there has one person, and she or he like to listen or read stories during travel, because she or he forgot to bring storybooks with her. um, then she can download it from Play Store, Google Play Store, and listen different stories. You can also listen some motivational stories. I told before that I read it, karma. I read these stories karma in class 11. And once I also downloaded this ebook from Google Store, and there I also saw these stories, karma. In I read it these stories briefly, short, very briefly. I had no full stories in my book, but I saw these stories, um, a whole part in ebook, but I could not read it because this karma story is really very motivational, is very knowledgeable stories. And if I want to read these stories, or if I want to listen these stories, then I have to buy. So that's why I could not read these stories, every stories, full stories. And there are also different types of stories. I downloaded different apps of storybooks. um, and there also have FM radio. If you download FM radio, then you can also listen some stories in Hindi, or if you want, then you can also listen Bengali or English. But I downloaded this FM radio. Once I downloaded to listen stories, and but I did not. I was not getting any English stories, or I was just getting every Hindi story. So that's why I could not read any stories. No, one I read one stories, half, 1.5 stories. But I uninstalled this stories app. And I also like, I also read different stories through Facebook. There has some different pages in Facebook. There they uploaded new stories, new stories, knowledgeable stories, or well stories. And I also follow these pages. And when they upload any stories, then I get notification. And I also read it, these stories. Um, so it also really very important for us. Online books also really very important for us. And everybody, nowadays everybody is preferring everything through online. So but if I use my mobile phone for a long time, then it can damage our health. Means it can damage our eyes. When I look at the screen of the phone for a long time, then our eye will get will can dam sorry our eye can damage. So that's why sometime we can read our studies book, or we can read some story books without phone. But everybody is getting addicted about phone now. So everybody is wanting to do everything through online. um, and there had lot of there also has lot of facilities about everything. If you suppose you have no teachers of English, suppose I am telling that you have no teachers of English subject, then you can understand any stories, or you can understand any poem through YouTube. There is lot of channels and there is lot of teachers, they teach everyone freely. So everybody is preferring these online books, online studies than everything. But nowadays kids are not opening their books every day, because they some there is some children, so there had has some students, they are just opening their books during online class. Otherwise they are using their phone most than books. They are giving preference of their in their phone than books. So they are getting habituated on phones, and they are getting detached from their studies book. Yes, they also opening their books during exam. Now school or tuition class, every tuition class and every school is taking online exam, so it's very easy for every student giving exam. And it's not a exam, it's open book exam. Everybody is opening their books and writing everything. And they are also taking help of phone, they are taking help from Google, etc. They also have some learning app like Byju's. Most of the students read studies from this Byju's app. So etc. But in part of my view, I liked to read it my studies book, I liked to read story books than these online books. When I downloaded any stories app, like this ebook or etc. I did not get any interest from these stories. Means I did not have any patience for reading these stories, for holding the phone for a long time on my hand and look at the screen for the long time. And it was not possible, I did not have so much patience. So that's why I uninstalled all stories app, online stories apps. And when I have any interest, or when I want to read any stories, then I have story books. I read these story books. Now I'm staying at home, so that's why I don't need to go outside. So that's why I also don't need to use my phone for everything. So according to me, these academic book, or this studies book is more better than these online books, according to me. No, online books also very workful or informative. So it was my topic, I told about online books and academic book or studies book.